Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you all the tools you need and then your workbench space on how to make a holster. Stay tuned and you'll see exactly how I do it and hopefully give you some tips on how to do it yourself. Alright, so here we have, actually this is the entire left side of my wall. You can see here I have this right here, the metal part. It's called wall control. It's pretty much metal pegboard. It's phenomenal, and you don't need to like build a frame or anything like that. It just literally bolts right to whatever you're mounting it to. It's pretty freaking awesome. So I'll start with, I have everything hanging on it obviously. So we got your clamps, $1 piece from Home Depot. We got my sponges. These are the 120 grit sanding sponges for drywall. I use those for buffing my edges. Obviously we got the tape. We have heat shrink. I use those for when I'm doing anything that requires paracord when I take that off. Magnets, just in case I have a Veridian come in. I got snap caps for other things. These are marking pencils for fabric. I don't like the black. I always use the white. I got the white right there. And then obviously I got the tools that you'll need. I have a couple different size Phillips, one pretty nasty flathead that I have, and then a couple different length ones. And then I got my T-handled hexes, which generally I use for G-code snaps and all that stuff. So I also have these blocks right here. I got these from DIY.com or DIYholster.com. I rock these for my hole spacing. This one is speed clips, this one is loops, and then you got kind of a combination in different ones. This one right here is the Safariland. It's actually, I just got it. It's like a couple bucks at on, where'd I get it from? Holstersmith.com. And then every now and then I put a beer bottle opener in a holster, so that's what I have those there for. And then I bet you're probably wondering why I have forceps here. They actually work phenomenal for doing hardware deep inside a holster, so I'll use those. It clamps onto it and I'll drop it down in, and then I'll kind of put pressure there. JB Weld, I use that for mold making and all that stuff, and then you get your tweezers, which you obviously know what all that's for. So this is the very left side of my desk that I use, and then you got your order holder. I barely use that because I do offline orders, and then I just have them piled right there. Next I kind of have storage, so I got all my foam with my ovens. So you can see this is kind of a broad overlook of the first section of my bench. My bench is 24 feet long, and so we'll kind of go down there. So this is my main taping off area, as you've seen in other videos, and I do a whole bunch of other stuff here as well. Sometimes I finish. Each bin has its own category of things that I use. So I got wood that I use for appendix rigs. These are my side channel dowels. I got random pieces of metal in here that I use for like height and differences. And then same back here. I actually, for a day job, I build electronic weapon systems, so I do a lot of PCB boards. So these are breakaways of PCB boards, so they're fiberglass and copper, and they're phenomenal. So if anybody wants some, I could get some and mail them to you. So I usually get a ton of them. This one is all plate aluminum, and these are from, it's just sheet stock that I get at Home Depot, and I trace what I need and I cut out, and that's what I use for blocking. This is what I use for rails. They're called ladder bars, or rail protectors, depends on who you talk to, but they're rubber and they fit right over them. You see me use them on everything that has a rail. Again, random cuts of wood, and generally these are my retention spots for OWB holsters. And then you got your HDPE blocking that I use for like revolvers and random other things. And then you got more snap caps and more stuff over there. So on top of that, I don't like changing out tools, so I have multiple drills. Generally they have the different sizes. So this is for deburring, and this one's for obviously drilling the holes. I keep all my drills right there. So you got your rivets, and then I have on this one is for retention, and then these guys are for the RTI plates and such. So this guy is a lifesaver. It is a pistol rack for a safe. This one holds 8, I think. Yep, 8. And you know, when you're working it, just stick it on, take it off. Works wonders. Cheap money. Definitely helps out organizing the bench. I also have, I don't know if you saw these, all the flashlights that I use. Actually I still have blocking up there that I use a lot as well. So these are all the flashlights that I use. I have some molds with flashlights on them too, so that's there. And then I keep my bins up top. When I grab a job, I place everything in there and go to town. Cutting shears, I use these for the fiberglass. You can use them for Kydex too, but I don't do that. Rem oil, I use the Rem oil to clean all the Kydex. It works phenomenal, and I suggest you do that. And coming down here to my vac press area, got my vac press. It just sits here right now. I got some molds that I'm experimenting with. My compressor. This is my homemade vac table. So it is a 16 by 16 by 0.758 or something like that piece of aluminum. And what I did is I drilled the hole and I tapped it, and I have it plumbed. Let's see if I can get under here. Here we go. Plumbed underneath, and then it comes up and goes right to my compressor. So this is let's see actually what it runs here. Yeah, almost 30 psi. So that's that. I keep a piece of tape over it so no dust gets in the line because I don't have an inline filter. You can see my air line. I actually just set this up today. So I got a T up there, and it goes all the way to my giant, actually show you. Don't mind my mess, I'm still working on this place. So I have a pretty sweet giant snap-on compressor. Work on that, but I got the whole thing plumbed going around and then drops down over there. Main reason why I have this is A, I clean all the holsters after I cut them and sand them. But once you got your hot decks on here and you pull your vacuum, while it's down, you just, and it cools it off faster. That way you could go ahead and do more presses, because you have about, 110 seconds to get it out of the mold, off, before the next one pops out. So that's why I have that. It's a lifesaver and doesn't cost much money. All these are generally hanging on my wall. What they are the retention plates for the molds. Now, because I moved into my new shop, I don't have all my molds hanging up, but I just have them in bins of which company they are. You can see I have a lot going on. So again, this is those are all the retention plates. I have them stacked by, so I got Springfield, Masada, I got SR, so Ruger, Carr, Smith & Wesson, SIGs, Glocks, CZs, Walthers, FNX. So I have them all here. They were mixed up like you wouldn't believe before, and it was terrible because I'd spend 10 minutes looking for the right plate. On this wall, I keep the frames, and then I have random stuff. You can see the forks that I use for people, drill bits. I got the tools for my scroll saw right here. I keep my Dremel bits and all my extras here. And then, yeah, I got a grenade launcher hanging here and got some fun stuff. Handcuffs I use for test fitting. And these are trip wire alarms with some 12 gauge blanks. That's going to be for just fooling around. But this is where I keep this stuff. And my arbor press is right next to that. So I keep everything on my arbor press. And then these generally sit right here. Got a mat to put all the holsters. Scroll saw, best thing you can use. It, well, not really the best. A lot of people do band saws. Band saws are good because the holster doesn't vibrate while you're cutting it. But if you use these, then you know how to use it and whatnot. But the reason I like this is because the blade is so thin that you could do tight radiuses, and that's what I like. Moving on, I have my sanding station. It's just a Harbor Freight belt sander. I've had it for 4 years. Hasn't crapped the bed yet, thank God. Tilts. Thing's pretty sweet. It's not too loud. And then I have my enclosure here, which catches all the dust that gives off. And then, of course, you have to have a light on it so you can see what you're doing. Underneath that, I have my shop vac. And that shop vac, I have it set up so I could sand and stuff, and it catches it so I don't have to hold it. Dremels. I got 3 Dremels. You'll see me using those in the other videos. So I got my cutoff wheel, got my sanding disc, and I have my router bit. Now, like I said, I don't like changing tools, so I just buy multiple tools, and I have a strip underneath. And then this is my final assembly area. You'll see me use my vise to bend the ears of OWBs, and I'm a mechanic too, so I use that for other things. Sight channel tool, bolted to the bench, ain't going anywhere. Heat gun, love that thing. It's a DeWalt, let's get the model for it for you. D26950. It's a great heat gun. I bought this one off Knife Kits. I had to replace it. I think I've gone through 2 in 4 years. So, and again, more bins. Each bin has its own thing, and they're all labeled, so I know what it is and mainly what I use. So I got OWB loops on the left, Molly, Blade Tex, Tech Locks, speed clips. Then I got my 3/8 bolts, 7/16, half-inch, 1/8 rubber spacers, quarter rubber spacers. Looks like I'm running low on those guys. 8/32 short nuts, tall ones. And then these are all the other guys that I use. And then different colored, all that stuff. So I think you can get all these gray bins at Harbor Freight. They're not too bad. These ones, my work was throwing them out, so I ended up nabbing them. And then underneath, I just keep like chargers and stuff like that. And that's my glorious Snap-on box that I use for my automotive stuff. But each section has its own lighting over it. And then, yeah, you can see this is 24 feet long. Right in the middle, I have my toolbox. That's got my gunsmithing stuff in there, but that's it. And these are just old drawers I found kicking around until I find something else, but it holds all the accessories in it. Mostly Ox Creek, Bubba's Holster Co., and a few other guys in here. But for now, that's what it is. My presses, I did a video on these not too long ago. It's my motorcycle jack. So the thing is absolutely beast. It's 1-inch pipe, 30 inches tall. Yeah, I just sit here and go ahead and crank it up, and I've broken quite a few molds in these, but there is a separate video on these that goes into detail. And then my Kydex storage is literally just that. So I just bolted all that up, and it's actually suspended off the ground. And this is just my waste bin. But this is my bench, and you see me work it. It's got a good flow, and set your bench up however you want to. I figured I'd keep the ovens with my heat press and kind of go down the line. So I always form, drill, then I cut, and then you know, rivet and then cut depending on what it is, sand, and then finish. And that is that. So if any questions or where I got some stuff or how I built some stuff, feel free to comment or send me a message or anything like that, and I'll do my best to answer you. All right, man. Happy bending.